reporter with LNP, and I'm here with Millersville University meteorologist Eric Horst. Eric, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. It's starting to get busy here at the Millersville Weather Center. When there's a snowstorm on the way, the students start to gather, and so that's a sign of things to come.
Okay, well, yesterday you tweeted almost 24 hours ago your probabilistic forecast for the county: 20% less than 6, 40% 6 to 12, 30% 12 to 20, 10% 20 or more. I think everybody's probably fixated on the 20%, or I'm sorry, the 10% chance of 20 or more inches. Is this probability still the same today?
No big changes today. We're still 4 days out from the peak of the event, which is Saturday morning. Yesterday, when I issued that forecast, you're 5 days out. I've been in this business 30 years, and these complex storms, things can certainly change over the course of 5 days. So, that probabilistic forecast really is what is most helpful to decision makers that far in advance. For instance, PennDOT, I gave them that forecast yesterday for this part of the Commonwealth, and that gives them a sense based on things that might change with the storm. What are the percentages of different outcomes of there being a 20-inch plus event, or there being what I said yesterday was most likely was a 6 to 12-inch kind of event. As you get closer to the event, things begin to come together. You can dial in and give more of a deterministic forecast and give decision makers a crisp forecast. But 4 or 5 days out, it's better to develop contingency plans or understand how the storm might impact us differently, depending on the track and timing and things like that.
Okay. You started seeing this storm come together last Wednesday. You first wrote about it, that the potential for the potential storm, I guess, is here, but tricky matters of jet stream phasing and storm track will determine the final outcome. How can you see something a week ago and it not change much, my terms, and then we're a couple days out, and it's still the same probability what you're viewing, and you're going to probably have a better idea tomorrow or Thursday even for what we'll ultimately get. What goes into that, and what does storm or jet stream phasing mean?
Right.
In other words, this potential storm.
Right. Well, I think it was last Monday, so more than a week ago, that we saw the pattern setting up. And to an experienced meteorologist, you can look at the hemispheric pattern. You can look at the lay of the land in terms of the jet stream positioning, where there's blocking patterns and such. And so you could see to the trained eye that the field was getting set for the potential for a storm. Now, there's still not a storm. In fact, the low pressure that's going to affect us won't form until Thursday morning down along the Gulf Coast. So we're still talking about ingredients in the kitchen, but they haven't come together yet to make the souffle. So, but to answer your question, the atmosphere has stayed in that favorable pattern the last few days. We have Arctic air over the region now. Well, that's an important ingredient to have in place. We need a strong storm coming off the Pacific. We have that. There's a storm coming into California today that'll provide the upper level support for the storm that's going to form Thursday in the Gulf and come our way Friday and Saturday. So again, the ingredients are there, things are coming together, but when it gets down to nitty-gritty details, for instance, where will the bands of heaviest snow set up? Where will the northern edge of accumulating snow occur? Where will the changeover line be, where it changes from snow to sleet to rain? Those are things that we can't quite dial in precisely yet. I have a good sense of where they might be, but really it's probably not until Thursday morning that you can take a sharp pen and draw those lines with a high sense of confidence.
Okay, well, knowing it's just Tuesday, and we won't hold you to this come Friday or Saturday, but what's your sense right now of the areas that would get the most snow in the hard line? Giving you the caveat that it's Tuesday.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, right now, ground zero, the most favorable spot to get, say, 20 plus inches of snow is Skyline Drive in Western Virginia, the high terrain, even the I-81 corridor from Hagerstown down to Roanoke. That's a sweet spot. And then west of that into the mountains of eastern West Virginia. So that whole area from Skyline Drive west into the mountains of West Virginia, that's where a crippling snow is most likely. Now, I think the lower Susquehanna Valley, like over South Mountain in Adams County, Franklin County, who knows, maybe even Southern New York, Southern Lancaster County, that heaviest snow could even make it into there. And again, of course, if the storm track shifts, then we have to move that zone a little bit. But I think we are going to see significant snow, probably a good chance of double-digit snow, which is 10 inches or more. But again, I think that best chance of crippling snow is in the mountains to our south and west, down in Western Virginia and West Virginia.
Okay. And when might we expect this snow to start? Again, knowing it's Tuesday.
Right. Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, I think by evening rush hour, the first flakes are falling. It could come in more quickly than that. Hopefully all the schools will have everybody home before the flakes arrive. But these southern systems often come in quickly, so I wouldn't be shocked if there were flakes falling by noon on Friday. But I think late afternoon's more likely, with the heaviest snow Friday night into Saturday, and then things tapering off Saturday evening. And if we get all snow out of it, there can be a period of blowing and drifting late Saturday into Sunday. So it could turn into quite a storm, even if we don't see the worst of it in terms of the deepest snow. If we get 6 to 12, 8 to 16, and then you blow that around, that's a very impactful event.
So by the sounds of things, probably wouldn't expect to see school canceled at this point on Friday. Sounds like maybe early dismissal, or they'd be able to have the kids home by early afternoon. Right.
I don't see snow in here Friday at daybreak, to cause a cancellation. Again, if it comes in quick, maybe it's lunchtime. More likely mid-afternoon would be when the snow would come in. And the worst of it, again, is Friday night into Saturday. So that's pretty good timing in terms of most people not having to go to work Saturday morning, and certainly the schools aren't an issue. But anybody traveling this weekend, a big heads up, especially if you're traveling south and southwest, like down that I-81 corridor, looks to be ground zero. As you head towards the coast, I think it starts to snow everywhere. Even in a place like Atlantic City, it starts to snow. But these strong storms, warm air comes in from the east, and they will likely change over. Even Philadelphia could mix or change over, though that's not for sure. It's a possibility. And if it's a really strong storm, maybe even it mixes over here in Lancaster. That's not out of the question, though it's my anticipation that we see mostly snow.
Okay. Being how cold it is, does this present any special challenges for the people who have to take care of the roads, or is it maybe a blessing that the storm is expected to come the bulk of it Saturday?
Right. Well, the roads are certainly going to be cold. We have Arctic air over us this week, and although the Arctic air will be loosening its grip a bit as we head into the weekend, it's not going to get above freezing. I think when it's snowing here, it's going to be between 26 and 32. So the snow will accumulate on the roads, and PennDOT's ready. I just spoke to some of the folks in Harrisburg about an hour ago, and I'm going to be briefing them daily from here on out. They will be ready to take on this storm and do a world-class job on the roads, I'm sure.
Okay.
But of course, you get a foot of snow and the wind blows it. You can't keep up with it, So, but it's they'll be ready to go.
Okay. How are you preparing at the Horst household for this snow?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I've been watching the things come together the last couple of days. I think I had about 3 hours sleep last night, and that'll only be that might be a good night's sleep compared to what I'll be getting later on in the week. But this is what meteorologists should live for, is an event like this. It's exciting for our students here at Millersville. It's a good learning experience. Of course, with social media and some of the craziness that occurs out there, these storms can sometimes take on a life of their own that exceeds what a reality will be. And that's why at least the professional meteorologists try to keep things real, talk about the range of possibilities rather than just what the worst case scenario is. And of course, some of the armchair forecasters and folks on the internet, they tend to predict worst case outcomes. And we try to give a better sense of what is the most likely outcome and range of outcomes, especially this far out. What are the range of possibilities that you need to be prepared to handle? A day or two from now, we dial it in and we put out specific numbers. So I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Okay. And what is, after this storm comes through, do you have any sense of a warm up or continued cool down? In other words, if we get a significant chunk of snow, is it going to be sticking around for a while?
Right. Well, getting snow on the ground does help keep the cold air around, but I see signs of a bit of a warming trend early next week. I wouldn't be shocked if we got up to 40 degrees on Monday. So that would help melt things off, at least on the roads a little bit. But I see another shot of, at least a glancing shot of Arctic air in the middle of next week. It may be warm enough that there's a rain shower ahead of that Arctic front next Tuesday. I really see the pattern the next couple of weeks beyond this storm being much like the last 2 weeks, which is this vacillating pattern where it warms up, you get into the 40s for a couple of days, and then an Arctic blast comes in, and you cool down into the 20s for a couple of days, and then you repeat that cycle. That has been the storyline so far here in January. And once the storm plays out, I think that's probably the storyline for the rest of the month. And, February can be a snowy month, obviously, here in Lancaster. El Nino winters like we're in. February can certainly present another storm. But I think there'll also be some warm spells here and there so that it won't be the sustained brutal cold like what we saw the last 2 winters. This winter, when you average out, those ups and the downs, January has been pretty close to average.
Okay. All right. Well, that should do it. We'll be tuning in with Eric either in print or maybe online again as this storm gets closer and we've got a better sense of things. So, Eric, thanks much. Have a good day.
You're welcome. And folks, if you follow me on Twitter @MUWeather, that is where you can get the latest updates as this thing evolves in the coming days.
Okay. Thanks much.
You're welcome.
Bye.